What's up, guys? Teddy Cornwell here. Welcome to the Underdog Talk. Something about the underdog. Today, we have the machine on the podcast. But before we get into this interview, I have to give this gentleman a proper Underdog Talk introduction. Today's guest is a proud father of 3 wonderful children, the head honcho of MTS Nutrition, the chief marketing officer of Tiger Fitness, and the man behind the tastiest protein bar, the Outright Bar. And IFB professional, I am proud and honored to present Mr. Marc Lobliner. What is up, Marc? How are you and the family doing?
We're good, man. They're still asleep, man. It's summer break. And summer break is kind of when my wife has to get up with the kids. Well, we all do. I'm usually up in here working or traveling or whatever. But so like school starts early. I don't remember school starting so early when I was a kid. And it just seems like they're like the bus comes at like 6:40. I'm like, what like before 7? Who came up with that idea? And they're in school for 7 hours a day, and then they still have homework, which brings me to the conclusion: what the hell are they doing in school all day? Imagine going a 9 to 5 job, and you get home like, I still got an hour of work. Like nobody does that in the real world.
Paid for that, right? You know, that's what I'd be thinking.
What we learned during the whole like lockdown situation, when parents were watching the Zoom of the classrooms, that's when everybody started homeschooling. You know, it's like homeschooling. Have you looked at the stats? Like homeschooling is through the roof. Have you heard of these pods? So the pods are basically where you hire like a teacher and they come to your community. And let's say you have 20 kids, they all chip in and pay for this teacher. So it's actually, you know, decently inexpensive. So if they ever did what they should do and get a school voucher program, I don't think anybody would ever go to a public school. I'm not, and I've dealt with the bureaucrats at public schools, and they're just, they don't care about the kids. They just care about profits. You can say the same thing about private schools, right? But if you have a pod where like, and then you're able to, you know, and sports have changed. It's not about high school. Sports are all club. They're all club. So they don't even recruit out of high school for like soccer and rugby and stuff anymore. They recruit out of these clubs. So now that you don't need high school sports for the athletes, why the hell would you send your kid to public? And I speak as someone who sends my kids to public schools. So it's like, but if we had a voucher, I'd be like, I'm going to take this money over here where they don't suck as bad. You know, but I'm not, my school district's actually really good, but as a whole, man, it's a mess. But enough. I have ADHD for the record, so I'll go off track like that.
That's perfectly okay. Now,
yeah, it's all good.
Before we get into your career, I gotta say there is something special about this s'mores peanut butter Outright Bar. I don't know if it's the touch of honey that it has.
Touch of love. It's made with love.
Touch of honey. Damn, it's so good.
Yeah, that was the one. That was the special flavor that kind of, because we came out with a chocolate chip and then the raisin, and it was oatmeal raisin. It was already, you know, a unique, one of a kind. It's basically a shelf stable whole food bar where it's been done but refrigerated. With the Perfect Bar did it really well, but we want to make it shelf stable so you don't have to carry your refrigerator around and keep your bar in the cooler. Nobody does that. No. Yeah, with a 12-month shelf life. So we're able to do that, but. You know, the thing is, s'mores was the first one because I thought everybody wanted the cleanest possible bar. Yeah. But the macro, now you got to look at like the inclusions, like in s'mores, we got some graham cracker, we got, you know, some brilliant marshmallows, right? But the inclusions make up less than 1% of the total ingredients. So the macros are the same. But the ingredient list is this long because obviously there's ingredients in the graham crackers. People are like, this bar is not clean. I'm like, actually, if your diet is such that having, you know, 0.3% of your diet from inclusions to make it taste better, then man, you live a much more virtuous life than I do, because people want a good combination of good nutrition, healthy fats, mainly monounsaturates. They want the high quality protein. They want the superfood carbohydrate like honey, but they also want a flavor experience where they're replacing a candy bar, where they're getting that. So they're getting the best of all worlds. And if less than 1%, way less than 1%, literally microgram amounts is what separates a good bar from a holy shit bar. You know, I'm tell you what, I'll eat the chocolate chip peanut butter most. That's the first one. I think I like the texture, but if I have a choice between cookies and cream and one of the more whole food natural varieties we have, I usually go with the cookies and cream because that 1% for the same macros for me is worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
That's just me.
No, I mean, they're all.
But you know, some people are like, oh my God, seed oils. I'm like, do you really think you're getting like people literally? I got like carcinoma, skin cancer, and people are like, it's from the seed oils. I'm like, what? And you know, a lot of people are stupid. Well, we didn't have this disease up until this point. It's like we didn't test for it. People weren't going to the dermatologist every 6 months. Like medicine's come a long way since the fucking caveman days.
Yes.
By the way, where they didn't keep records. Like, oh my God. And they only lived till like 30. Sure, they got eaten by woolly mammoths, but we're like, this is what primal people ate. I'm like, primal people died at 28.
People will look for fucking anything.
Oh my God. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, this is what we're put on this earth to eat. But like, if you get like a disease, you're probably not going to be like, I'm going to cure it with liver. No, you're going to go to the doctor and be like, bro,
fix me up. Yeah.
I'm fucking dying here. I can't just suck on bone marrow.
And this is what motivates me each day. This is my treat. This is my reward. This is my candy bar. And it is. And I'm getting the protein in there. Oh, man, I just can't stop eating these.
I made it for my kids to eat between soccer games. I had no intention of selling them on a mass scale. It was just supposed to be I never formulated a food before. I formulate powders.
Yeah.
So for me to, jump into the actual functional food market was something I wasn't prepared for. So I had to learn as I went how to deal with distribution on a mass scale, how to deal with, gas stations and all this stuff. So it was a learning experience at a later stage of my life. Well, not later. I still got another 40 years of work, but
yeah. And I mean, thank you so much. Thank you so much for releasing these. And I know your kids love them, but thank you for letting us love them because they are amazing. Now, Marc, I want to start from the beginning. Your childhood was not easy. It was different. It was different. That's good. It ultimately shaped you into the successful man you are today.
Yeah.
Your mom was a drug addict. Your father had severe diabetes.
Yep.
What was this like growing up in such a, I'm going to say different, but I also want to say rough environment?
I'll say it wasn't rough because it was life. It's like if you grew up in the hood, right? Like I know a lot of people who grew up in gang situations where their family was in gangs, and that's just your normal. So your normal, your baseline is set at such a level where it's not weird. Like your normal is, you don't know what you're going through is weird. So you think everybody's going through similar things. Like I would probably say, victims who grow up in an abusive household, they don't know any better. They don't know what a loving, caring, virtuous household is going to bring. So for me, it was just a matter of, I didn't like a lot of the stuff going on. So my brother, who's also, a very, very successful individual. He's a senior. He actually just later, he's 48. Shit, he's 40. Damn, we're old. Yeah. He's actually 47 right now. So he, just got a new position, but he was, a senior vice president for Prize Logic, which is a huge digital marketing company. They do, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the projects, but large companies might be or might not be, like Best Buy and McDonald's. So they deal with those huge companies, put together these digital marketing portfolios. And so my brother's been very successful. Both of us went the opposite route. When you are in a situation where you're dealing with adversity and drugs, and the statistics are pretty clear. If you grow up in a household with abuse or with drugs, you're more likely to become an abuser or a drug user. It's pretty clear, but there's another path to go, and that's to break the cycle.
Yes.
And for me, it's like my parents meant well, good people. My dad was a good dude, just, really unhealthy. Really, really good dude. Really good guy, good man. Just unfortunately, his health ruined his life. With my mom, you have a whole plethora of situations that all of us we would have probably taken our lives. You go through a situation where, your father's an Auschwitz survivor. So you're dealing with his mental trauma your whole life. You go to a new country at a young age without knowing the language. You're dropped in there, legally, coming over to a new country. And then you go back and you serve in the military in that country. She was in the Israeli Defense Force. And then you have to kill people. So, you're mentally just unstable. So as I'm older, I could look back and empathize with the struggles, because it's hard to go through things. Like, we get a bad day and we're grumpy, like we're grumpy to our wife or our girlfriend or our kids, whatever. Imagine if you kill somebody, or imagine if you have, because it's your job, right? Like, can you imagine the trauma that cops go through who have to do that, right? Like, so in perspective, they're just good people met with weird situations, met with bad situations. So, in order to kind of mitigate everything going on, you have to look at the benefits you have. I had a roof over my head, and I had people around me who helped, and I had strong males. And I'm going to say males because they were the ones who helped me. Maybe in some men's life, men need strong males. So do girls, right? So I had two really, I had a football coach and an outside linebacker who took me in as a high school sophomore going into my junior year. And that's as a football player, and kind of showed me how to be a man. And that was my turning point. That was my transition. And that's why I coach. That's why I give back to my community, because I do believe that there is a biological and necessary role for strong men in the community. And I speak as someone who lived it. So, I can directly point to a day when my life went from, getting in fights on the street to actually doing good in life and having a trajectory where I can be something. So, and for me, it was a strong man. And for someone else, it could have been a strong woman. It could have been a dog. But for me, my goal is to give my experience of having a strong male role model that wasn't my father, although my father was a good man.
Yes.
That's why I coach, because I bring that perspective, and I know how, man, if you look at all the situations, you look at mass shooters, whatever it is, it's usually, and there are exceptions, it's usually households that lack a father. And so what we can do as strong men, I'm actually just doing my Instagram post this morning is about this, is what we can do as men is donate our time to help the youth. And that will turn this country around from violence in Chicago to everything. If we get strong male role models in these communities, we're in a really good place. And if you think I'm sexist or I'm cis or whatever the words are, I really don't care. I really don't care, because it's what we need. It's just, in my opinion, I might be an idiot, but that's just me.
I think everyone's opinion matters, Mark. So I see your point, and I agree. I mean, we all need someone there for us. Now, Mark, I want to dive deep into one more thing that ultimately made you who you are today. You come home from school one day, and unfortunately, there are paramedics at your house. Your father had passed from a stroke. My thoughts will always be.
Well, he didn't pass that day. That was he passed later on, but that was when that's when his health went down.
Okay, my thoughts will always be with you. I mean, I truly can't imagine losing a father at such a young age. Now, you say in this moment that you knew that health and fitness was what you wanted your passion to be.
Mm-hmm. Now,
after, during this moment, why did you decide to pick health and fitness as your passion?
Because I literally saw it take someone's life. It's you only look, we're all going to die, like that was my thing. Like when this whole 2020 hit, I'm like, dude, if I get taken down by a souped up cold virus, it's just not my day. We're all put on here for, whether you believe in fate, a predetermined or a non-determined amount of time, and how we spend it is everything, right? And we know that our quality of life will be much higher if we are healthy, if we are able to function, if we're able to run, if we're able to breathe, if we're able to walk upstairs, if we're able to see our penis because our stomach isn't covering it up. And that's honestly, did you see, it's like if you're slightly overweight, like your penis is like a half inch smaller.
Really?
It's a crazy, it's there, like Google it. It was crazy. And I'm like, that's why I need to stay lean. I need every half inch I can get. Oh yeah. It's like, why do you stay shredded? I'm like, half inch, bro. I'm like, it's literally double, right? so like, I'm just a white guy. So long story short, healthy people just have better lives, and if you're going to dedicate 30 to 90 minutes a day for the rest of your, 22 and a half hours to be awesome, I think that's that's worth it. I can't imagine how people who aren't in shape feel. Like, I know I wake up my aches and pains. I take it to the extreme level though. I'm a pro bodybuilder, and I'm not going to say, if I know, the comments, it's like, oh, bodybuilders aren't healthy. You're right. We take risks. Bodybuilders take risks. So do people who ride motorcycles, people who drive to work. It's a choice. It's a choice we make. And there's a choice you can make by being fat, right? Like, if you like being fat, if you like eating food and not exercising, you do you, bro. But for me not to say the virtues and benefits of being healthy would be disingenuous. So for me, watching what just not taking care of yourself can do to somebody, it really, hit me to my core that this is where I want my life to go. And while it's not going to go directly there, that's ultimately where I want to end up. And luckily for me, I was able to land in publishing and work for a company that ended up had bodybuilding magazines or fitness magazines, Muscle Fitnessers, Flex, Men's Fitness, Shape, so I worked on those after college, or those portfolio of magazines. And then of course, American Media with the tabloids, which was fun. Yeah. I actually really enjoyed that. That was so much fun. And, being able to parlay that into a career in the sport nutrition industry, where I think, you see that tub of Extend in the back. When I created Extend, or when my team and I created Extend back in 2004, we were the first ones, us along with, and I think Doug was next at Core Nutritionals, to give credit where credit's due. We were the first ones to really, at that time, everything was proprietary blends. So I wanted to bring transparency to the industry. And so we did that. And so my goal was always to create a great product and, obviously be able to support myself, but also to actually live up to label claims. That's when people hate on me. They'll be like, you're just selling fart powder. I'm like, I'm selling whey protein. I could show you fucking white papers of fucking data on anorectic effects, on muscle building effects, on increased glutathione production, which can help prevent viruses, literally as good as N-acetylcysteine. So I'm selling good shit.
Yes.
So so I'm one of those guys who, I put my heart and soul, and this is my life's work. And that's why I go so hard on smooth brains like Cali Muscle, because he's trashing my life's work. And they're like, oh, why do you come at Cali? I'm like, dude, when you talk about all protein, when you say all protein powders are bad for you, that's like saying that I am intentionally trying to hurt somebody. I'm coming back at you. Yeah. And unfortunately, we're in an industry where his first thing is, if I ever see you at an expo, bro, we're fucking 40. Are we really talking about throwing fists? I hope he hits me. I do, because I will sue him so hard and I will hit him back. So not only do I have self-defense, he better have a team. Like, he better, like, look, man, I'm not hiding from anybody. I got a message the other day. It was like, you didn't go to the LA Fit Expo because you're afraid of Cali. I'm like, first of all, I was just in California the week before, and I'll be goddamn if I'm flying another 5 hours each way to go to California for an expo. Expos are also a tremendous waste of money. They just are. We did the Arnold this year. I think that might be our final expo, because Brandon literally competed, and we got a huge, let's say we got a good deal on the actual booth cost. I still lost money. Yeah. By the time I paid, dude, you don't understand. Each meal to feed my booth was $700 at Chipotle. I spent $700 at fucking Chipotle 3 times a day. So like, you look at that, like, I got to sell a lot of product. And when you sell a product for $2, you're making like 30 cents. Yeah. So the amount of product I have to sell to recoup, and all the people come to our booth already know who we are. There's no like newbies at the Arnold. Like, nobody's just wandering on the street. So I'm better off we actually sponsored a local a youth soccer tournament and crushed it. I was just handing out bars to parents on the sideline. It was great. We had a huge ROI. I sell fucking protein bars, man. Like, and Tiger Fitness, I can run an ad on Facebook and know I'm going to get a 16 times ROAS, where it's return on ad spend. Whereas if I go to the Arnold, you're not getting that. So I didn't go to the LA Fit Expo, 1, because it's far. 2, because none of my companies had a booth, because it's not worth it. And 3, because we're going through one of my companies. We have a huge good thing going on, but it's literally taking about 7 hours a day. And I'll be damned if I'm flying to LA unless it's for something to do with Ambrosia or Iron Addicts or any of the companies I own there. But I'm not avoiding anybody. I'm avoiding everybody. Fuck trade shows. I'd rather just go to like all these events, man. A lot of people don't understand. Like, I don't understand why people do them. Like, you send an athlete to a store, and the store doesn't I do more in probably 10 minutes than a lot of these stores will do in a month at Tiger Fitness. So it's one of those things where you have to do the math, like where's your time best spent. I also coach full time. We're opening Legacy at Carbon out here, which is a youth training facility. We have 4 hours of training a day starting next on Monday that I'm going to be helping with. You know, I up until recently coached at a high school. I have no time to be messing around with and going like to prove I'm not scared of somebody. I don't have a booth. What am I going to do? Like just walk around the expo? Hey guys, like what am I just going to walk around and go get samples? Like what am I going to, if I don't have a booth there?
I agree. I mean, Tiger Fitness is already bigger than these expos in promoting. But I mean,
internet's changed everything, man. Expos are the reason you're going to see a resurgence because people are tired of being told not to go places and shake hands and hug people and show their face. But expos have been dying out for a while now, just because, you know, I think Arnold had a lot of people missing, like Bang and Redcon and other large companies because of they claim it's because Arnold said screw your freedom. I actually think that was a good excuse because, dude, we have celebrities saying stupid shit and we promote them anyway. If that's the case, then if The Rock has a expo, I expect Bang and Redcon not to go there either because he literally supported Biden. Like he literally said, vote for this guy. How's that going? You know, so it's like, and if you're a Biden fan, I apologize, but what I'm saying is you have to be ethically, you know, consistent.
Yeah.
So if The Rock has his Athleticon, and if I see Bang or Redcon there, I'm calling both those guys out. Yeah, and I love Jack. But if you're going to, but I don't even know if that's the reason Bang didn't go. I'm just getting, so sorry, Jack. I don't want to get Jack mad. I love Jack. Jack's my guy. But I'm just, not Bang, but some ambiguous company who didn't do the Arnold because Arnold said, screw your freedoms. At the end of the day, man, these expos just don't return on investment. And with the internet and being able to do these programs and digital marketing, there's really very little reason to go to expos other than just to show that you can afford a big ass booth.
I agree. There's no point in wasting money if everyone knows who you are already, Mark.
I love seeing people though. I love talking to people, but expos aren't intimate. Like I like seeing people at Kroger or like at Publix, you know, I like hanging out with people. I like talking to random people, but like expos, like there's a line, you got a little bit of time. They're like, oh, I don't want to take too much of your time. Like, why not? Like we're here and oh, there's people. It's weird. It's just a weird situation.
Yeah. I've never been to an expo. I plan to eventually, but Mark, I think hard times shape us, and something that's so key to remember in these tough times. It might be stormy now, but something I always remember: rain doesn't fucking last forever.
No.
Now, the rain storm certainly did not last forever, as Mark, you begin an illustrious career, first for Sylvester Stallone's company, InStone, move on to being CEO of the legendary Extend and Skyvation, and in July 2011, you create the legendary brand MTS Nutrition that so many know and love. Why did you decide to start a supplement company on your own, and how much work does this take?
Well, Skyvation was actually mine too. InStone was the last time I ever had a boss. I also got fired. So that shows you why I don't belong with bosses. You know, I wasn't done. My first inclination after Skyvation was to exit the industry and, you know, go do actual, like, I like corporate America. I really liked working for the magazines. I liked publishing. I like the 9 to 5. I like putting on the suit. I love that shit. It's awesome. It's actually really fun and challenging. Whereas with I just wasn't done. And with the opportunity to, you know, become a part of Tiger Fitness, and I never did internet retail. I never did that. So it gave me an opportunity to expand and learn, and also knew that that was where the future was going. With Amazon at that time was selling books, right? But they were growing, and I'm like, holy shit. Amazon literally at that time was selling books. And then you had the internet, which, you know, like people think I started on YouTube. Dude, I started in 2004, and I got my first, like the first time someone recognized me at an expo was because I wrote an article in Muscle and Fitness called Iron Cardio. So it was cardio with weights, which I would never do, but at the time it sounded cool. It was basically hanging cleans for cardio, which, as you know, as you get tired, risk of injury goes up, but it worked at the time. I liked it, but I mean, dude, the systemics, and anyway, that's besides the point. So from, so basically, and then Civation in 2004, like I started that company driving store to store with a Toyota Corolla full of branch chains, trying to explain to a random 18-year-old clerk at GNC why branch chains were worth taking, and getting insulted every day, like getting shit on every single day. And then, fast forward to 2008, Facebook came out. And one of my Australian distributors told me that when he does like an event on Facebook, more people show up. That's when I started, kind of doing more Facebook stuff. And then in 2011, after I teamed up with Tiger Fitness, my partner Chad told me, look, dude, Google owns YouTube. So you need to do YouTube. I'm like, what do I do on YouTube? I had no idea what to do. He's like, do a product review or something. And so I reviewed Oxy Elite Pro for Tiger Fitness, and the video ended up blowing up and our sales increased. And so we became essentially a product review channel. And then I was also competing at the time. It was like 2011. I started competing really hard, and people were like, hey man, what are you doing for training? What are you doing for diet? So I just started kind of, putting some training stuff and some diet stuff on there. And that's kind of how the channel grew, but I never expected, I didn't start like, I'm going to be a YouTuber, but it was so early that I'm not very good at it. Like Christian Guzman, C-Bum, they're so good at it. Even at the time, the twins were better than me. At the time, we just had Louis Marco, the Hodge twins, Scooby, and me. That was it.
Yes.
And then Chris Jones came in, Big J, and then a year later we had CT, and from there came Mike Rashid and all those guys. So I was literally one of the first YouTubers. So there was no one else to watch. Yeah. So I was lucky that my partner's like, hey, we should probably do a product review on this protein powder. I'm like, okay, sounds good. And I've since brought back the product reviews because now I just talk about the ingredients. I don't even need to try them. Like, unless you're spiking a pre-workout, I know exactly what it's going to do. I know all the ingredients. And if you're spiking it, hopefully it's like crazy. It has meth in it. So,
yeah, and I mean, in that same month as starting MTS Supplements, you become the chief marketing officer at Tiger Fitness. So, how did they reach out to you, and how did that all happen?
Well, I don't think I've ever known. So I was, after I sold Civation, I was going to leave the industry. I had a non-compete. So the only thing I could really do, I couldn't sell to stores, but I could sell to consumers. I could sell direct. So the internet was the only place. So I started out, believe it or not, I got a job offer at a chain of gyms in Illinois, and I was actually in North Carolina at the time. I was going to move there for it. But there were some weird things in the contract where they didn't like state how much my bonuses were and stuff. And I'm like, dude, we can't like work for an imaginary bonus. Like we need to set this down. So I'm like, you guys are not the right fit for me. And so it was actually Export. I can say that now, Export, that chain. So I interviewed, they offered me the position, and it was a salary plus bonus, but they never stated what the bonus was. And again, the guy who made me the offer, he's no longer there, so I could say that. And I love Export. They're great people. I trained there for years when I lived in Illinois. Love that gym, love that chain. So I'm not throwing shade, but that's what happened. Full transparency. It's like, what, he's lying. He didn't get that. No, I did get an offer, and I was going to move out there and basically head up their private label line of their supplement line and their retail stores, which to this date, they need help. Like I could help them, but obviously I'm a little too busy to, but
a little, very.
Yeah, but I mean, there was such an opportunity there. I was really excited. So then I'm like, okay, whatever. So I went and sold equipment. So I was selling like equipment, like gym equipment. I actually outfitted like I think I'm still to this day like the top salesman and like ever. And I'll have like 3 months. Like I crushed it in gym equipment. I made so much money in like 3 months selling. Like, dude, it was dope. It was fun because we got to go actually set up the gyms. Like I got to build equipment, so I learned something new there. I'm always trying to learn. Problem is, one gym we set up, Peak Physique, I believe in St. Louis. I don't know if they're still around, but it was actually snowing, and we had to set up and we had to move the equipment in. That sucked. So I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. And so, long story short, I reached out to a couple internet retailers. I had a concept to have an autonomous brand within an internet site, build that brand, do certain things. I'm not going to go into the specifics of my business plan. And then, then in the 2 years my non-compete's up, we can go to the market and already have the swell of consumers who know about us. So we basically have 2 years to build a brand. And I'm like, I'll invest in it. I won't take pay because I just want to build a brand. And so I actually talked to one company, and I was like, this guy's pretty good. This might work, but like, I was like, nah, it didn't feel right. And then another guy who I thought was like going to be great. He's like, no, I don't think we have to call the brand the name. So let's say, put in perspective, it would be called, instead of MTS Nutrition, Tiger Fitness Supplements. I'm like, dude, that's horrible. Nobody wants to buy Tiger Fitness supplements. Nobody trusts Tiger Fitness as a supplement company. They trust us as a store, as a place that ships things and takes orders and provides customer service. And then it's like, then I also think when you have a house brand like that, there's a reason why, Kirkland is Costco. They don't call it Costco toilet paper. It's all mental, right? Like Costco's a store and they carry many products. So if I have a private label product, I want it to have a different name. Even like Walmart has Equate, Sam's Club has Members Mark. There's so many reasons for that. So, then I had I didn't want to present it to my buddy Chad because we were such good friends. And Chad owns Tiger Fitness, and he's my partner in all the companies now. And I'm like, dude, here's the idea. And within 24 hours, we had a business. Wow. So he was the guy, and that was kind of how it came about. And that was in July. I sold the company in July, August 1st. So by September 30th, we launched our first MTS Way at Tiger Fitness, and the rest is history. Yeah. And through lawsuits and everything we went through and everything we're going through now, Chad's my guy, so it was just perfect. It was, two bros, and he's really good at things I suck at. And I've been able to learn a lot from him, and I'm really good at things he's not the greatest at. So we're able to complement each other's weaknesses. So it's been a fairy tale on that end.
Damn right. And Mark, I'm a very open guy. So I got to say, the first time I ever watched a Tiger Fitness video was, I don't even remember. This was years ago.
It's a masturbation one, huh?
It was going to be the SARMs. Well, I think I did watch that one. It was going to be the one I took.
That one blew up, man. That one has like 10 million views.
It should. It was the SARMs one where you talk about how your balls might shrink, but it'll make your dick look bigger. And I was like,
it does. Smaller balls, bigger dick. It's just relative. It's like an illusion, like a bodybuilder who's not that big, who poses and looks bigger.
You see, and I was like, oh, good. Everything's okay. And so thank you for that relief, Mark.
Well, I mean, SARMs are inherently, the problem is the data on SARMs is using like 3 milligrams, and they're telling you to take 50 milligrams. So, any good doctor will tell you, or any good like scientist will tell you that dose is everything. Like I could drink 200 milligrams of caffeine in my coffee here, right?
Yeah.
Or I could take 2 grams of caffeine. There's a difference. So same thing goes for anything. So while, SARMs are relatively safe and non-hepatotoxic at 3 milligrams, I could say the same for Tren. If I give someone 100 milligrams of Tren, they might get the cough. They might get this. If I give someone 2 milligrams of Tren, which I don't even know how you'd be able to measure that out, they're not going to feel a thing. So it's dose. And that's almost what they're doing. Like, think about it. Like 3 milligrams, or the study on like Austrians, like 3 milligrams. And I think they're giving people like 50. So that's actually the equivalent of, if you're taking a half a cc of Tren, that's the equivalent of me giving you 3 cc or 1.5 cc's instead, which is literally less than, that's like again, it would be really hard to measure oil at 1.5 cc's. So think about one and a half, not even 1.5 cc's, or it's a half cc. So 1.5 milliliters. So I'm like, or whatever that line is. I don't even know how to I don't even know what it's called. And it's just that little line on the insulin pin, right? So imagine you have half an insulin pin of Tren, which is a good amount of Tren. And then you have just 1.5, just one under 5, like 1.5. That's how they're dosing SARMs. So that's the problem, is that we're quoting studies and safety data using less than 1/20th of the fucking recommended dose.
And I'm not encouraging any of this. I'm just saying from my own experience. But Mark, I finally have to turn to this bar that I've been enjoying the whole time, the Outright Bar. In September of 2018, you released this legendary bar. But my question actually is, I have to ask, how busy are you? How busy are you with all these fucking brands? And I mean, you're also a critical member of Ambrosia Supplements and some other that I don't even have time to list. So how do you manage all that?
It's lately it's been harder. It's been difficult, and especially we have local responsibilities with our new Carbon Performance opening up, a legacy of Carbon. you know, Ambrosia takes a lot of my time. We have 015 Pump Chaser supplements, MTS, Tiger Fitness. So all of it does add up. And I'm not going to lie, there are times like, I'm on a call on Memorial Day and I'm just like, geez, there are times when, I'm human. And I even tweeted this. I'm like, dude, today kind of started out shitty. And you start out and you have this mountain to climb. And I mean, you know how hard it is to schedule things. We scheduled this, right? I'm like, I'm busy here. I'm busy here.
You're a busy dude.
So it's become increasingly difficult where, you just have to manage time. And then you have things like, taking kids to soccer games. And my daughter has to do all these ID camps for college. I'm like, okay. So I'm gone every weekend for that this summer. So it's just a matter of, honestly, you have to become that guy who ignores things. And there's sometimes I'll ignore a phone call or I'll ignore a text. And it's because it's down the totem pole. And that's not me being a dick. That's just me, having to do things. Or I'll just be honest, like, hey, I'm busy. I'll get to this later. And then I also need downtime.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, well, you watch TV. I'm like, yeah, I need to relax. I can't function. So a lot of people are like, well, if you're not working, like these idiots who have no money on Twitter, who are just they talk this big game like, well, you wake up and here's your hack and you do this 4:30 a.m. club, 4:30 a.m. club. Fuck that. I need like 7 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not getting sick over this. Like, I'm not going to die early and have a crappy quality of life. So there are certain things that have to give. Your business can't consume your life. So you have to give and take, but you also have to get things done. So that's where you have to prioritize. Like today, I know right now, I just got it over here. I have a contract I have to review. And after I review that contract, I know I have to, talk to my partner about something. Then I know I have something going on at this time. So you have to list things out by order of importance. And you get to the most important things first. And sometimes if something's not that important, you have to either push it back and just let the person know, it's pushed back, I'm busy, or you have to, just completely ignore it. So again, it's a shitty way to live. It kind of makes you look like a dick a lot of the times, but I understand people are grinding, especially salespeople. I feel so bad because these people are cold calling on me, trying to sell something. And I've been there. So I don't want to be that guy who's not picking up the phone. But if you're a sales guy and you call me, you better have your pitch on point. Like, I had one, it's about like, they didn't even research my business. I'm like, dude, like, you're calling me wasting my time. And I kind of laid in. I'm like, dude, once you learn how to sell, you could call me back. Because it was some dude calling, it was some like company. He called me like 10 times. They didn't take me off the damn list. It's like, yeah, my colleague Raphael called you. And I'm like, and it was about getting more like visitors to my gym. I'm like, what gym? Like, well, Machine Training Solution. I'm like, that's my LLC. What's my gym's name? They didn't even know that. And I'm like, dude, if you're going to call a CEO, you got to respect their time.
Yeah.
You got to know, hey, I'm going to increase your gym members at Iron Addicts Gym by 20% in a month. And here's how. Boom, 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 boom. Then we're talking. But if you call, hey, so tell me more about you. No, it's all on Google it. Like, it's all fucking there. Like, you can't hide anything anymore. Like, my wife's like, oh man, you put the address in that video. I'm like, dude, have you ever Googled like our name? It's all there. Like, you can't hide.
Yeah.
Like, we're unlisted and somehow it's still fucking there. So just own guns. Yeah. Is my message.
And I mean, we are talking to the machine. This is why they call him the machine. He is grinding 24/7. But us human beings do need some breaks. Now, Marc, it's been an honor and privilege. I know you are a very busy guy, as we just talked, but are you down for some rapid fire questions before I get you out of here?
These are my favorite.
Fuck yeah. This is
so fun. It's ADHD dream.
Oh, yeah. I've never heard that. Now that I think about it, yeah.
Yeah, you're all over the place.
Favorite product on MTS subs?
MTS, huh? Well, I mean, are we going with food product? What, I'm going to go with Immortal because health is everything. Immortal's my favorite, and under Ambrosia, it's going to be Nectar. So it's always health products for me first.
That's a good answer. I like that.
Yeah, and then the new Clash 3D is. I have this here because I was talking about it earlier, but this one, I'm really proud of that formula, and people love it. So that took me a while to formulate and find the right partners for it. 3D pump, and what's really cool about one of the ingredients, Vasodrive. It was formulated as a heart health ingredient. So, but heart health. Think about the pump. What is the pump? It's blood flow.
Yes.
So I love it because for me, as someone who wants to reach my goals, have great workouts, build muscle, all that good stuff, but also not only not hurt my health, but also contribute to good health. I really love the inclusion of that.
Yeah, I love it. I know you already said this, but favorite flavor of outright bars?
I'm old school chocolate chip, man. The chocolate chip peanut butter. It's got that texture, man.
The s'mores was amazing, and I love it. But
it's got that graham cracker kick. I know, but for me, it's nostalgia. That was my first flavor. It's nostalgia.
And I mean, the butterscotch made me feel some type of way that I've never felt in my life. No girl has been able to do that to me. So, butterscotch one, definitely try that out, guys. Marc, favorite pose of all time?
For me or for just anybody? Because I have a fucked up body, so I have to kind of
favorite pose of all time. Let's use that body in there.
Honestly, for me, front double bi, because it sucked for me, but I was able to, fix my stomach issues with, my diastasis issues that I had surgically repaired. And then I was able to build my biceps up to a level where it actually became my strongest pose. So for me, my go-to, even though you think side chest, because that's where my strengths are, glutes, hamstrings, and chest, it's actually going to be front double bi because it always sucked for me.
Yeah, I like that. Use your weakness and turn that into strength. I love it.
Which is the toughest thing to do, right?
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Talk like Rocky for the rest of your life, or have to box Rocky in his prime.
So who am I? What's the first one?
So talk like Rocky for the rest of your life. Yo, Adrian, I did it.
Oh, I box him because Sylvester Stallone's a fake boxer. I would fucking fight Sly any day in his prime.
Well, we're talking about Rocky in the movie in his prime.
Oh, so not Sylvester, but actual Rocky?
Actual Rocky in his prime.
Well, I mean, the good thing about boxing is you can always take a fall. So I'll take the fall.
Okay.
I'll just take one shot and do like the dude did when Mike Rashid fought him, just take a fucking knee. I'm out.
Yeah, I've never thought about that. Get it? You don't have to talk like him, and you get to fight him. All right.
And you get the money. Like you get paid.
Yes.
I'm getting Rocky type money. I'm getting a heavyweight championship fight. I'll fight Tyson Furry right now. I'll even actually try. Now I'll get knocked out in the first 20 seconds, but it'll be a hard fought 20 seconds.
Fuck yeah. It's about the fight. Fuck it.
Well, I mean, it's about the money at that point.
You are going to get a shit ton of money, Marc. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to get, dude, that's life-changing money. Like that's millions of dollars. Yeah.
Yes. Ben Askren went down and the man made fucking millions. So yeah, the money is damn there. Now, final question, Marc. This is the big one. This is the last one. Pull-ups or chin-ups?
Yeah, I'm one of those. I hate doing exercise choices. What I like to do is start with pull-ups because they're harder because the leverage, then move to chin-ups at the end to finish. So I usually will start with my first. Once I can't get 6 to 8 reps, I'll move to chin-ups. And you'll notice chin-ups, you have better leverage because you have all this work in here, whereas pull-ups is a less advantageous position. So I like to do pull-ups into chin-ups, but if I'm going for the most bang for my buck, and let's say I have a team and I only have an hour to train them, I'm going to have them do pull-ups. But chin-ups, I like if I have a minimal equipment gym, let's say the lat pull down's broken. Like for example, at Carbon, our lat pull down, somebody broke it. So I'm going to do pull-ups. And then once I start fatiguing, I move to chin-ups.
I have not heard that answer yet. I fucking like that. That is both of them. Fuck.
Well, now, I mean, if I have to choose, I'm going to go pull-ups, but but I like the fact that with your leverages, you're able to fatigue on the pull-ups and then move to chin-ups and still get the rep range.
Fuck yeah. That's all right. That's valid. Now, Marc, as I said, it has been such an honor and privilege. Before we go, is there anything that you want to plug?
Man, I mean, you can find me. I mean, tigerfitness.com is our site. It's at Marc Lobliner on every single social media outlet. Twitter, not as much as it used to be, but it's a little more political than Instagram. Instagram's all, it's all coaching and kids and training and stuff like that. Instagram, there'll be hot takes Twitter, there'll be hot takes because it's Twitter. YouTube is Tiger Fitness. So youtube.com/Tiger Fitness. That's the only different one is YouTube is Tiger Fitness because that's what it started as. And everything else is Marc Lobliner.
Hell yeah. And check out MTS Nutrition, the best subs in the game. Outright bars. I mean, if you guys want some fucking tasty snacks, Outright bars are at GNC Vitamin Shop. I mean, check them out. As you guys can see, we have some big guests coming on the Underdog Talk. But until next time, Underdog out.
All right.